Greetings and welcome back to my channel for another video. This video is another update in the Sonya Massey case. Illinois Sheriff Jack Campbell has announced his retirement. Let's talk about it. We'll be back in a few. And we are back. So let's get into these updates. First, again, thank you to those that are tuning in. And if you have any comments are always welcome. Just be respectful. Now, I've been following this case as many since we heard of the horrible incident and the subsequent release of the body cam footage. Since then, Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell was asked to step down by family members of Sonya Massey, friends, loved ones, and strangers. Sean Grayson, former deputy sheriff Sean Grayson, was hired by Sheriff Jack Campbell. Sean Grayson's response to a 911 call from Sonya Massey resulted in her losing her life. Now, before I go further, I will present my disclaimers, which are fair use. Disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which states allowance is made for fair use of copyrighted material for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, education, teaching, and/or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation and/or incorporation of copyrighted material by others which might be infringing under other circumstances. Next, we have the viewer discretion disclaimer. The following broadcast contains mature themes and situations intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. And also, for my listeners, sensitive content, trigger warning. As I mentioned, Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell, did announce he will be retiring effective August the 31st. Now keep in mind, I did a video maybe 2 days ago where the governor of Illinois, J.B. Brixler, had also called for him to step down. And as I normally do, I just do a quick cursory search as to if there are any connections, any dots that may need to be placed together. And as I scrolled down, I saw that Illinois Governor J.B. Brixler was a potential running mate pick for VP Kamala Harris. I pay attention to detail, and I always try to look for some type of connection. And there may be more ahead. So let us look at a few videos. Fair Use Act is in effect. Thank you again for those who take a moment to watch this video and any videos. I truly appreciate it. Some might be wondering why the thumbnail has a sad character next to the sheriff. It is because I believe he felt compelled to step down and retire. And you will see and hear that in statements, because there is a wealth of them on the internet for you to research and see for yourself and listen for yourself. That is one thing I will always implore you all to do, and that is to conduct your own thorough, independent research, because in dealing with the media, some information may not have been updated, some information may not have been accurate. So it's always good to check back and to cross-reference other sources. Never rely on one. So as I'm waiting for this video to queue up, the things I will be speaking on include what I first spoke on was how did Sean Grayson get hired in the first place, given the red flags. And there were many. I also spoke about background checks. I also believe that Sean Grayson should not be the only one held accountable. And that includes the governor as well. I asked, why do you feel that way? There are many things that come through and go through the office of governor. And I am almost certain that his constituents had concerns, not for Sean Gracie individually, but for other things in Illinois. Keep in mind, if you're following Dalton and the mayor, Tiffany Henyard, there are issues there. Several issues. Abuse of authority, misuse of funds, misappropriation of funds. The last trustees meeting, if you have not had the opportunity to view that, it was nothing short of chaotic. Now I'm on the video, it just hasn't popped up on the screen. But again, in short, Jack Campbell, sheriff, has decided to retire effective August the 31st.
Jack Campbell has resigned from his position. He's been the sheriff since 2018. In a statement, Campbell said he's embraced the role to lead the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office. His last day as sheriff will be no later than August 31st. He says he's fulfilled his duties and served the community to the best of his ability. The sheriff also mentioned the death of 36-year-old Sonya Massey, saying, quote, "Since the incident, I have been proactive and transparent, working tirelessly to present all the facts to the public. I have committed to making changes to our standards and collaborating with other units of government on ways to prevent incidents like this in the future. The only person truly responsible for this act is in jail, and I believe..."
Now, this is my opinion, mine alone. And then again, others may share the same sentiment. I do not believe the only one that's responsible is in jail. And does that mean others need to be in jail? No, but they need to be held accountable. Next, I'm going to look at the actual booking video of Sean Grayson. And I want you to pay attention to not only his responses in the conversation, but more importantly, his body language. If you study body language, it can speak volumes, even while being silent. Again, fair use is in effect. Now, this video isn't long, and I want to make sure that
amid growing public outcry. Meantime, civil rights attorney Ben Crump.
Okay. I want to get to the actual part of the booking. Now, notice under the bottom, you will see he says he expects a short time behind bars. I want you all to make a mental note of that. He says he expects a short time behind bars. Why? Do you think he would expect a short time behind bars? Is this something that is just in his mind alone? Or is it possible that he may have had conversations with others that we don't know about? Let's continue with this video.
Behind bars.
Yeah. Well, this whole new safety act. That's why hopefully I'll be out tomorrow.
He was referring to his initial court appearance on July 18th. Grayson's lawyers argue the Menard County Jail is unable to treat Grayson's medical needs, which include having colon cancer. In court Friday, a judge ruled he will remain behind bars. Hours after the video release, Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell.
Now, also keep that in mind, because I'm going to go back to something I displayed last live on Sonya Massey. Medical treatment. Run this back one more time, because again, I want you to pay attention to his voice and body language.
Not guilty. In the video, he says he expects a short time behind bars.
Yeah. Well, this whole new safety act. That's why hopefully I'll be out tomorrow.
He was referring to his initial court appearance on July 18th. Grayson's lawyers argue the Menard County Jail is unable to treat Grayson's medical needs, which include having colon cancer. In court Friday, a judge ruled he will remain behind bars. Hours after the video release.
Okay, again, keep that in mind. It's a medical condition. Next video I'm going to show is he felt in fear for his life, he being Sean Grayson. And that fear allegedly came from Sonya Massey, stating, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," which we'll touch on briefly. Keep in mind, Sean Grayson is a strong, tall, ex-Army member who was discharged, according to records, in the year of 2016.
Field reports just released by the county sheriff's office reveal former Deputy Sean Grayson says he feared for his life in the moments before he shot and killed Sonya Massey.
That's all I'm going to show of that. These videos are everywhere, so you can watch them. But I just wanted to show what was said in the video together to collaborate. It's one thing to say something, but I like to have actual reference to what was said. And there's something else that I want you to research. The Illinois Fraternal Order of police actually put in a grievance asking for him to be reinstated. This was done on July the 17th. However, they've decided to no longer pursue that. Again, the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police put in a grievance on behalf of Sean Grayson, stating that they wanted him to be reinstated. Now, another thing that I have plenty of questions about, and I mentioned it initially. How did Sean Grayson, with all of the red flags, get hired? Again, fair use is in effect. Now, there has been speculation as it relates to a recommendation for employment for Sean Grayson, allegedly by way of his fiancée, Isabel Butterfield, who we know is a nurse. And I'll bring that record back up. I'm just going to go back a little bit. Keep in mind, Sean Grayson had, according to records, issues with misconduct, that to me just raised. Here is where I want to begin this video, where it says, these records show he had personal connection. That's just a part of the transcript. I am trying to get to the actual video. It should queue up momentarily. No, if it were me, I would look into.
It happened when he failed to slow down despite his boss calling off a vehicle pursuit. Less than he was hired in Sangamon County. These records show he had personal connections, including a reference from his girlfriend's father.
That's what I wanted you to hear. A reference from
Personal
his
connections.
girlfriend's father. Described Mr. Grayson as a mellow, non-confrontational person who has good communication skills. Well, I think many of us have seen at least a portion of that horrific video, and I could not watch it in its entirety. I mentioned that before, and I'm being honest, I have not, I cannot. But the words I heard that came out of his mouth, that did not show me or illustrate to me that his communication skills towards Sonya Massey were good. Also, this right here might be key. Advised me that he is now, of course, this is redacted for obvious reasons, co-workers with Mr. Grayson at the Logan County Sheriff's Office. Now, I mentioned myself that I reached out to them just to see if there was anything they could offer. And I was told in a very kind way that they would not be releasing any statements. And if they did, it would be by way of social media. This, to me, might be of importance. Stated that he also worked closely with Mr. Grayson on drug cases when he previously worked for SPD. Describes Mr. Grayson as a quick learner who has great drive and gets along with everyone. Quick learner. That's odd because there have been other documents that contradict that statement. One particular statement needs more training. That speaks volumes again. Drug cases. Quick learner. Please keep all of these as mental notes. The reason why I'm focusing right now on drug cases is because his fiancée, Miss Isabel Butterfield, excuse me, and we'll go back to that record. Advanced practice registered nurse, and as you can see right here, controlled substances, schedules 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, does that mean anything? I cannot definitively say that means anything, but it is something I definitely would look into. Next, Isabel Butterfield, being a nurse, caring for others, taking the Hippocratic Oath with the alleged allegations of misconduct, and I'm just saying alleged, but we've seen documents, misconduct and problems that Sean Grayson has had with DUI. Also, his ignoring an order from his supervisor as it relates to a high-speed chase. You saw that on the very last video that I showed. Then it went into his reference. Given that information and the aggression, in my opinion, shown towards Sonya Massey, is it possible? Is it plausible to think, to question if Miss Isabel Butterfield, being the fiance, and I am certain they spent a good amount of time together, perhaps discussed stressful days at work, if she was a witness to any type of unpleasant behavior by Sean Grayson towards her or anyone else. And if so, did she report it? Did she disclose it? It is documented that many law enforcement personnel, and I actually know this for a fact, have had issues with their partners, domestic related issues with their partners. There are some who seek relief, if you will, from a bottle, either of liquid or pills, to help lessen pain. Which brings me back to the reference to Sean Grayson, his medical issues, and the statement that his medical condition relates to colon cancer. Sonya Massey's son, Malachi, stated that Sonya had lupus. I have lupus. I've had lupus for, my gosh, over 30 years now. There has been speculations that Sonya Massey may have had on a hospital wristband. Is it possible she was seeking treatment for her lupus or her mental health issues? It is said she used to work with home health care or something under that umbrella. I can say this: there are many medications, unfortunately, for some, and you've seen commercials that can lead to depression for some people or anxiety for some people. There are some medications, and again, do your research, that can manifest into other situations. I don't know. I don't know her medical background. But I can say certain medications depending on any underlying health conditions, could possibly manifest into other things as far as mental health is concerned. So for me, that would be a question. Did she have any personal contact with Isabel Butterfield? Did Isabel Butterfield, and again, these are just questions, assist in Sean Grayson's treatment personally? Again, these are questions, just questions. Or perhaps provide any type of recommendations or referrals. Did Sean Grayson have any attendance issues due to his medical condition? Has that been listed in any files? And it just hasn't been released. Again, these are just questions that I have. And Mr. Butterfield, who may he know or have connection? Which brings me back to the governor. There should be, in my opinion, and this is for all states, an oversight committee on background checks for any, and I do mean any employee that applies for a position of public trust. And you would think law enforcement would be extremely stringent on those procedures, ensuring that thorough and proper checks are done. Reference checks. That police department, let me take that back. That should be the first one, but all of them in Illinois, in my opinion, should have a major audit focusing on reference checks. Because clearly, and that reference provided allegedly by way of his fiance contradicted other documentation. Jack Campbell had a duty to ensure that each hire was properly trained, and if there were any issues additional training completed, and if disciplinary actions needed to be made, that they were, and if it meant up to and including termination, then that should have been done. August 2nd, there's a video, and you can research, where Jack Campbell and his statements differed from his resignation announcement or retirement. And that's another thing. Will his package to retire be different from a resignation? Will he be entitled to the same or is there any difference? That's something that I would find interesting. There's still many, many questions. I'll ask again. I have yet to see, unless I've missed it, and that's quite possible I have. Has his partner been identified as of yet? Or is it being shielded due to safety reasons? Secondly, why allegedly did Sean Grayson not activate his body worn camera until after this horrific incident occurred? I'm sure he was trained how to place it on his person, how it is to be worn properly, when it's to be activated. Are there records of that particular portion of training? Who trained him? Was it an individual, an academy, or both? So many questions. So many questions. It is stated that the family didn't know the particulars until afterward. And there's also, and again, I have to say, allegations that they were not told the entire truth. If that is the case, how does former Deputy Sheriff Sean Grayson form his lips to say he hoped to be out by the next day. Knowing what he was charged with. To me, from my optics, from his voice, the calm that he had, to me, that illustrated confidence that he indeed would be out until trial. Even though this has garnered worldwide attention, protests, and vigils, yet and still, he believed and stated he would probably be out tomorrow, or he would hope to be out tomorrow. I believe, as many, there is much, much more to this unfortunate story. It hasn't been released yet, and I understand it's an ongoing investigation. I would honestly hope that those that are no longer working in that capacity are looked at. Has Isabel Butterfield been questioned? Will she be questioned? Will her neighbors be questioned to see if they heard of any arguments? Now, don't get me wrong, couples argue. They do. But anything out of the ordinary? And if so, were police not called because they knew Sean Grayson was a police officer? So keep those things in mind. The reference, the glowing reference, which appeared to contradict other documentation. The reference to going out on drug cases. The reference to being a quick learner. Again, Isabel Butterfield being a nurse and qualified for those controlled substances, as shown on her record. The grievance filed by the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police, which they decided not to pursue. thank you all for taking the time to listen to my thoughts and opinions on the videos. And the questions that I have. And lastly, as I mentioned, there was a video that we looked at. It was a short video, but the declaration that John Grayson made as it relates to his being in fear of his life because of a word, a statement. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That word, that verse, is not a stranger to believers. I used to hear my mother say it many, many times growing up, and other older members in the family. Some of you may have heard your relatives say it. Some of you may have heard members of the church say it or reference it when listening to the word. The phrase, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, has been popular in the Christian community. By definition, to rebuke means to express strong disapproval of someone's choices or behavior. Some Christians use the phrase to rebuke Satan and what they may deem satanic practices. It is extremely disheartening and frightening to believe that someone may have lost their life for that statement. Again, I wasn't there. We know what we saw from what was released. We also know sometimes, even though what has been released, whether it's audio or video, and I'm not saying that it was, sometimes things can be altered. I just pray that justice is served and all information that's provided is true and authenticated. If you like this video or any other videos, please let me know by giving it a big thumbs up and leaving any comments you may have. Until my next video, be safe, be well, be healthier, and bye-bye for now.